Hey guys, it's Josh from SLog Films. I'm here with the Canon C300 Mark II and the Sony FS7. These have been very popular for us. They both shoot internal 4K, they both have Super 35 sensors, and they both have slow motion capabilities. To help you tell the difference and maybe help pick you out which one's best for you, let me run through some of the basic features of these and try to compare and contrast them. The C300 is the clear winner when it comes to internal recording. It shoots 12-bit 2K in 444, as well as 10-bit 4K in 422. And it does both of those at a bit rate of 410 megabits per second. The FS7 shoots 4K at 10-bit 422, as well as 1080p. And it does both of those in 240 megabits per second. You're probably not going to see a huge difference for most applications, but if you really want the best quality in your footage, especially if you're doing any kind of green screen work, then the Canon is going to be a better camera for you. So, one of the big considerations when you're thinking about the usability of a camera is how it responds to very different lighting situations. So the Canon has extra internal ND filters that the FS7 doesn't have, which means that it's going to give you more flexibility when you're shooting outside in harsh daylight. It also has better dynamic range, especially in the highlights. On paper, the C300 Mark II is listed as only having one extra stop, but our internal tests show that it's actually closer to 2. One area the FS7 is clearly superior is in slow motion and off-frame recording. The FS7 can shoot up to 60 frames per second in 4K and 1080 frames per second in 1920 by 1080. And this is without cropping the sensor. On the other hand, the C300 can only shoot 60 frames per second in 2K and 120 frames per second in 1920 by 1080. However, the sensor is considerably cropped on the C300 when you shoot at the high frame rates, which could be a bit of a drawback. One area where it's a little harder to come up with a clear winner is in terms of lens compatibility. The C300 is shipping right now with EF mounts, and there's a PL version coming soon. And Canon has said that you'll be able to swap between the EF and PL mount on your camera. Unfortunately, that's something that's going to have to be done at a Canon service center, and we don't know how much it's going to cost or how long it's going to take. With the FS7, it uses an E mount, which has a lot of advantages. Because it has a very short flange distance, it's really easy to adapt it to both EF mount and PL mount. The problem is when you're using adapters, even good ones, you're adding the potential for another thing to fail, you're adding cost, and it can be hard to make sure that your focus marks stay accurate on your lenses. The other practical consideration is money. The C300 is kind of expensive. It's $16,000 compared to the FS7 at least, which is only about $8,000. One extra thing to consider is that the FS7 will require adapters to use most popular lenses, and so that's an additional cost. Lastly, there's a variety of intangibles that only you are going to know best what you need. One thing is that the FS7 uses the same menu system as a lot of the other Sony cameras, or a very similar one. We have heard from people that they like the C300 and the Canon menu system better in that they feel it's more intuitive. C300 also has better autofocus and a variety of small perks like proxy recording. Both of these cameras are available for rent at SLog Films. Which camera is better for you is really going to come down to the needs of your production. So if you have any questions, please let us know what you're shooting, and we'll be glad to let you know what we think is a better choice. You're also more than welcome to come check out the cameras. Shoot us an email, give us a call. We'll figure out a time for you to come in. We always love to talk gear, and we love to answer your questions.